Oh, wait. You believe the story. Let me keep going. Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. That's, Newsweek reports. Okay, Washington Post reports. Maxwell Gutner Air Force Base in Montgomery, Alabama. Once again, Newsweek in this case. The Air Force, the Air War College. Okay, that's in the Washington Post. Remember Mohammed Atta? You remember all this stuff? Mohammed Atta gets money wired to him by the head of the Pakistani intelligence agency. Not so much, folks. What gets me is, you find out that they do warrantless wiretapping and they lied to you. But that's okay with you. You find out that they tortured people. Not just the silly pictures, but tortured people's children. But that's okay with you. You found out that they lied to you about elections. But that's okay with you. You found out that they lied to you about weapons of mass destruction. But that's okay with you. They killed more than 1 million people in a country called Iraq that didn't attack you. But that's okay with you. Once again, they lied to you, but you think 9/11, they told you the truth. I guess they can lie to you about everything. There's no end. They lie to you about global warming, but that's okay with you. They lie to you about bailing out the home mortgages, and they give the money to the bankers, and then they don't even tell you where they spent the money, but that's okay with you. They stole from your grandchildren, that's okay with you. They put poisons in your food, that's okay with you. Boy, they lied to you about 9/11. No, couldn't be. They didn't lie to me about warrantless wiretapping. They didn't lie to me about, getting me into war. They didn't lie to me about the Gulf of Tonkin. Don't let us forget Vietnam. Okay? Boy, they lie to you. So I ask you, why do you believe them? What is it? How is it? How could it be? Is it just me? But the interesting thing was the government says, oh yeah, okay, yeah, we did have the same people with the same names go into these military bases, go into military schools, graduating from them and stuff, but it was just a coincidence. See, I like to say it's coincidence theory myself. It's just a coincidence. But it's interestingly that the U.S. government refuses to release any information about these supposedly different individuals. But that's okay with you. Here's a little bit we're going to go into some climate warming stuff for you. All right. First off, let's start off with Lord Monckton. This is a British guy who's well-versed in climate, well-versed in warming and cooling and blah, blah. Just listen to what the gentleman says, what this means to us, especially when you find out in Copenhagen, okay, that how many limos did they need? How many super jets did they take over, their little private jets, okay? When you start finding out that the hookers were giving themselves to these guys, it's in the the papers over there and stuff. But it's interesting because this is how you take away sovereignty. This is how you get global governance. Here you go.
And what are we doing instead? At Copenhagen, this December, weeks away, a treaty will be signed. Your president will sign it. Most of the third world countries will sign it because they think they're going to get money out of it. Most of the left-wing regimes around the world, like the European Union, will rubber stamp it. Virtually nobody won't sign it. I have read that treaty. And what it says is this: that a world government is going to be created. The word government actually appears as the first of 3 purposes of the new entity. The second purpose is the transfer of wealth from the countries of the West to third world countries in satisfaction of what is called coyly a climate debt, because we've been burning CO2 and they haven't, and we've been screwing up the climate. We haven't been screwing up the climate, but that's the line. And the third purpose of this new entity, this government, is enforcement. How many of you think that the word election or democracy or vote or ballot occurs anywhere in the 200 pages of that treaty? Quite right, it doesn't appear once. So at last, the communists who piled out of the Berlin Wall and into the environmental movement and took over Greenpeace, so that my friends who founded it left within a year because they'd captured it. Now the apotheosis is at hand. They are about to impose a communist world government on the world. You have a president who has very strong sympathies with that point of view. He's going to sign. He'll sign anything. He's a Nobel Peace Laureate. Of course he'll sign it. And the trouble is this. if that treaty is signed, your constitution says that it takes precedence over your constitution. And you can't resile from that treaty unless you get the agreement of all the other states parties. And because you'll be the biggest paying country, they're not going to let you out. So, thank you, America. You were the beacon of freedom for the world. It is a privilege merely to stand on this soil of freedom while it is still free. But in the next few weeks, unless you stop it, your president will sign your freedom, your democracy, and your prosperity away forever, and neither you nor any subsequent government you may elect will have any power whatsoever to take it back again. That is how serious it is. I have read the treaty. I've seen this stuff about government and climate debt and enforcement. They are going to do this to you, whether you like it or no. But I think it is here in your great nation, which I so love and I so admire. It is here that perhaps at this 11th hour, at the 59th minute and the 59th second, you will rise up and you will stop your president from signing that dreadful treaty, that purposeless treaty, for there is no problem with the climate, and even if there were, economically speaking, there's nothing we can do about it. So I end by saying to you the words that Winston Churchill addressed to your president in the darkest hour before the dawn of freedom in the Second World War. He quoted from your great poet Longfellow. "Sail on, O ship of state. Sail on, O Union, strong and great. Humanity, with all its fears, with all the hopes of future years, is hanging breathless on thy fate." Thank you.
Okay, well, so you learn a little from a British guy. Now listening to an American scientist, okay, who says, well, NASA was also involved in fudging the numbers. ClimateGate, find out. Listen to this, gentlemen.
A researcher threatening to sue NASA now, saying that he suspects the agency is manipulating data on climate change. So has ClimateGate now reached NASA?
That researcher, Chris Horner, he's a senior fellow at the Competitive Enterprise Institute and the author of Red Hot Lies. Thank you for joining us. Give us your 2 cents. Is any of the data, can we rely on any of this data anymore after what we've heard from the emails, etc.? What can we trust now?
Probably just the satellite data, which goes back 30 years, which was put up in place at great expense to you and me in response to the claimed consensus over catastrophic man-made global cooling. So you can look at the satellite data, but what NASA has been doing is, it seems fairly similar to what's been exposed in the UK. In 2007, when I first issued this Freedom of Information Act request, a Canadian statistician named Stephen McIntyre saw NASA increasingly hysteric about U.S. temperatures, even though they were not in fact going up. If anyone with a pulse knows, they've been going down. So he notified NASA, and they corrected their temperature data for the U.S. without issuing a press release for once, and then a few days later went back in and refudged the numbers. And so what we've been seeking is the underlying data, the computer code, annotations to the code. What are they using to constantly change historical data? And also, what was their internal discussion about, should we correct the data? What will be the implications if we do? And so on.
Right.
And NASA has been remarkably not forthcoming. And in fact, last night, 2 senators, Vitter and Inhofe from Louisiana and Oklahoma, sent a letter to the NASA Inspector General saying, guard these documents, don't destroy anything. Don't be too British on this, as they were caught doing, and let's see what really went on.
Well, the Inspector General is supposed to be the overseer and not affiliated, so we'll have to see what happens with that. But let's take a look at some of this data that you say has changed at NASA. So first, 1998 was the hottest year in its records for the contiguous 48 states. Is that true, or did that change?
They've changed they've changed the top 3, the entire ranking several times. So their defense now, let's just resolve where we are now. They're claiming, well, whatever, it's just within a few hundredths of a degree to the 1930s. Okay, well, you proved too much. You're telling us it's now as hot as it was in the 30s. Great. I fail to see the alarm. The trend is going down.